Greetings. Today's video will be a history lesson on money. If you're new to this channel is about business, it's about finance, it's about self-improvement, and it's basically videos helping people to succeed in business, in their finances, and in life in general. So if you're interested in that, then subscribe to this channel. But moving on to the topic at hand, why should you learn about the history of money? Isn't history what happened before and you're focused on the future? I think that to understand what's happening right now and understand the world we live in, we have to understand how that world came about. And that doesn't apply only to money, that also applies to pretty much everything about the world. It's good to understand how things actually came about. And with money, a lot of people are, let's say, not very knowledgeable about finances and personal finance and money in general. So I think it's very helpful to know the history of money so you can understand how things came about, how money developed, and that allows you to really understand the world we live in, the financial world we live in, which is what we're talking about today, and make good, informed, and knowledgeable decisions based on your understanding of the world and your understanding of money, of finance. And that is why it's good to know the history of money. But moving on, let's talk about the history of money. So before organized money, before organized civilization, let's say, a lot of people traded their goods. They traded and bartered with each other. If they wanted something from someone else, they can trade something they have that the other person wanted and get something back. And although this can work, it can be highly inefficient, because what if you have something that, or that person has something you have or you want, but you don't have something that they want. So that could be a problem. But let's say you have something that someone else wants, and the person you want something from wants something from that person. A little complicated, but you get the idea. Basically, there's a mismatch of wants and resources. So that is why money developed, because it allows people to trade more easily. It allows people to exchange goods. Let's say, for example, if you are a hunter and you have meat that you can sell, and someone has, let's say, a spear. Let's say you want to buy something, or you want something from the blacksmith. He has spears, he has weapons, he has bows and arrows. But let's say that blacksmith already has lots of bread stored in his house, lots of other foods in his house. Let's say he has a garden, and he says, I don't really need your meat. So how are you going to get that spear? There's a mismatch of needs. And let's say that blacksmith needs metal from the miner, but the miner doesn't need anything from the blacksmith at this time. But the miner is hungry and he wants the meat that you got from your hunting trips. So it's complicated to fit all three together, but there is a way to do that, and that is money. Instead of trading your goods directly, you sell your meat to the miner and you get money, and you can purchase that from the blacksmith and he gets money, and the blacksmith can buy metals from the miner and he gets money. So that is why money is so great, because it allows people to produce a lot more and trade their goods and purchase a wider variety of goods, because now they don't have to trade directly, and which can be inefficient and it limits your options. But now they can trade with money, and that can give them more options, and it creates a market. So that is how money developed. But in the beginning, money was basically mostly just metals. If you look at ancient China, ancient Rome, they use metals as the currency, and a lot of the times these metals were gold or silver. Sometimes other metals were used, like copper, but gold and silver were mostly the metals used. Paper money developed in China during the Middle Ages, and it developed all the way into the modern era, and it spread to other countries. But during this period of development, paper money was generally backed by monetary metals like gold or silver. They were generally not supposed to be currencies by themselves, but they were basically receipts that told you that you own this amount of the metal. And that system developed into the gold standard, which Britain first adopted in 1717 under the direction of Isaac Newton, who was the warden of the Royal Mint at the time. And other countries soon adopted the gold standard, and by the late 19th century it became the international monetary system. Basically, currencies were backed by gold, which was the monetary metal, and people bought and sold with their paper money, but they could always exchange it for gold. But however, World War I happened, and a lot of countries suspended the convertibility of their currencies to gold because they wanted to print more money and fund their war efforts, and that is how the gold standard ended. Of course, other countries kept the gold standard for a bit longer. The United States kept it until 1933. Switzerland was the last country to end the gold standard. But basically, the 20th century was a time that transitioned the monetary system from the gold standard of before to fiat currencies of today. Now, during this period, during the world wars and the interwar period, a lot of countries were sending their gold to the United States because they were buying supplies, weapons, materials from the United States. And the United States received a lot of gold supply. And that allowed the United States to continue backing their currency with gold. Although gold convertibility was suspended in 1933, that was basically for the domestic market. That was basically for US citizens themselves. The United States still allowed convertibility when dealing with other countries and other central banks. This system was further cemented in 1944 during the Bretton Woods conference, and that was the Bretton Woods system that came about it, which basically was the international monetary system for about 30 years. And how it worked was that the US dollar would be backed by gold, and other countries' currencies would be backed by US dollars. So they would, when they had US dollars, these other countries, they would trade that for gold sometimes. And that was how the system worked. And it worked until 1971, when Richard Nixon ended the dollar's convertibility to gold. And if you're wondering why or how the US dollar became the global reserve currency, that was basically how it came about. First, the influx of gold into the United States, which allowed the United States dollar to be backed by gold. And then the Bretton Woods system, which meant other countries' currencies would be backed by the US dollar. And that's why the US dollar is the global reserve currency, and it has hegemony worldwide. But this is currently changing. And after 1971, all currencies were fiat currencies, with the Swiss franc being the last to end the gold standard. And now basically all currencies aren't backed by anything. They're just backed by your trust in the government. And now you see problems with inflation, with massive money printing, and with the devaluation of the currency you hold. And that's because these currencies aren't really backed by anything. Paper money, or even digital money by itself, isn't worth anything. It's only worth something because you can use it for monetary reasons. You can use it to purchase other things of material value. And it's only backed by your trust in the government. And it relies on the competence and the goodwill of the government that runs that currency, which is, let's say, not always consistent. And that is the world we live in now, the world of fiat currencies. But this world is also changing because you have cryptocurrencies emerging. You have Bitcoin, Ethereum, other cryptocurrencies that can disrupt the domination of fiat currencies, or has the potential to. Although I think if you look at how cryptocurrencies are being used, they're not really being used so much as currency right now. At least not to my knowledge. I don't know when was the last time you bought a cup of coffee with Bitcoin, or a gallon of gasoline with Bitcoin, or a pound of, I don't know, pound of salt with Bitcoin. I don't know. But basically, I don't know a lot of uses that people have, or people have had with Bitcoin to actually trade for something of material value. People have mostly been buying Bitcoin because they think it'll go up. So there's a problem with that, but we'll see how it develops. But cryptocurrency is something that has potential to change money, change the world of money that we live in. And that is what's developing right now. And that is the world we live in today. So thank you for listening to my history lesson on money. I hope you found this video enlightening. And if you did find it enlightening, make sure to like the video, comment your thoughts, comment on what you want me to discuss next, because I'm here to help you guys succeed in business, in your finances, and in life in general. Make sure to subscribe for more helpful content and more enlightening content. And all of these actions help me and helps the video with the YouTube algorithm, so we can spread this knowledge and help more people and educate more people and help more people succeed. So thank you for watching once again, and I'll see you guys in the next video.